to Storied, a video series of the Presbyterian Church. This series will seek to illuminate the stories and experiences of just some of the people that share in the life and ministry of our congregation. It is the hope of our staff and session that these short videos will help to connect us, one to another, as well as encourage and strengthen our fellowship in these strange and challenging days. I'm Brittany Taminga, one of the pastors here at the Presbyterian Church, here today with Chris Fisher. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
Let's just jump right in. We'll start with the basics. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, right outside of D.C. My parents moved there when I was 6 years old, and I spent my whole time through high school there, went to college in Ohio, and then came back to Bowie to start a job in Washington, D.C., and lived at home with my parents until Alan and I were married.
Oh, that's great. Do you have any siblings?
I have a brother who is 6 years younger. His name is Rob, and he and his wife and their 3 adult children have lived in Essex Junction, Vermont, right outside of Burlington for several years.
Oh, that's great. I understand your parents are both now deceased, but what did they do while you were growing up?
My mother went to school and became a registered nurse. She attended college in Syracuse, at Syracuse University. She met my father there, coincidentally through a church connection. He started as a professional singer, worked in New York City, but then went into sales.
Now, many people from this congregation know your children, having watched them grow up in the church. Can you give us an update on where they are now and what they're up to these days?
I can't keep track. I keep track of them, but one, we are incredibly proud of them. So maybe it's easiest just to go in order. Our firstborn, Jeremy, is, as we speak, in Okinawa, Japan. He's been deployed for several months, and he will be making his way back to California to join his wife Josie and our new grandson Theo. He should be back hopefully sometime in June. Sarah, and she's next in line, and she and her husband Jake live in Tel Aviv, Israel. Jake is a professional basketball player there. Our daughter Rebecca is in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. She just finished law school, and our youngest, Hannah, is a field hockey coach and just graduated with her master's at Central Michigan University.
I think you win the award for mileage in terms of having your family spread out.
Well, you know, we showed the world to our kids growing up, did a lot of traveling, and they took us at our word when we said go and explore, and they did.
That's fantastic.
They did.
And tell us a little bit about your professional life. What do you do?
Currently, I am a teacher at Garfield High School in Prince William County, and particularly focused on special education. I have an interesting job there in that and a privilege really, I get to team teach in an English 11 classroom, and then I also have some administrative responsibilities, a lot of paperwork, and a caseload of about 40 students who I monitor through their school year.
That's great. And what do you really enjoy about your work?
Every day is different, and that keeps me energized. The students are different every day, the learning environment is different every day, and the fact that I get to combine sort of best of both worlds between being in the classroom and then also having some administrative duties keeps things fresh and keeps me motivated.
That's great. Now, we are sitting right now in your living room, which was not our original location. I wonder if you want to talk a little bit about where we are and how you've been spending your time here at home.
Well, I was hoping for a day that we could sit on the porch, because that's where we've been spending a lot of time lately, enjoying just being outside and the conversation that we've been able to enjoy while being out there. Weather-wise, not quite so cooperative today, so we thought it was appropriate to move inside to the living room of the manse. This is our home, and it's also the other part of it that's really unique is that it's also the church's home, and not everyone gets to live and be a part of a community like this.
That's so true. And you have a short commute to church on Sundays when
It's
we're able
great.
to gather on Sundays.
Yes, but the shorter the commute, the longer it takes me to get there.
Maybe more
I find
people
I'm
to
always-
talk to
I find I'm
along the
always
way.
zipping in at the last minute. Yeah.
Well, how long have you been a part of the church, and how have you involved yourself in the church in these last decades?
Well, part of that just by being married to the minister, and I really think it could have gone two ways, and at times perhaps it has, that I could either dive in with both feet or say that is your thing and have at it. But that doesn't make for a very meaningful partnership. So I think for the most part, I dived in, and our family has been involved. For me specifically, I've really enjoyed the music programs, at times in choir and bell choir, have sort of been the places where I've been able to plug in and find a niche.
Yeah. And I know you've been helping us get worship going for our pre-recorded services, and you're one of the people in the room as we record, and I know the congregation is so grateful for that and for the time and energy that you've poured into that ministry.
That's
really
been a
helped
joy.
carry us.
That's been a joy for me.
I'm
It's sort
glad
of
to hear
given
that.
shape to my week.
It helps me remember the day of the week. I know that.
Right.
And did you grow up Presbyterian?
I did not. I grew up in the Methodist church. I don't know life without being part of a church. My grandfather was a Methodist minister, went on to be district superintendent, which would be comparable to our executive presbyter. And so it just has always been a part of my life. The change to Presbyterian came when I married Alan. My grandfather, as I mentioned, was a Methodist minister. At first, never called Alan by name. He only referred to him as that Presbyterian, which was just, kind of a fun joke.
That's great. And what has this time been like for you in quarantine?
I guess the word, I've really enjoyed it from the sense of it's been a time for reflection and rejuvenation, and also a real appreciation for time. And I have found it to be comforting. That being said, there are times when I've had my moments of grumpiness and uncertainty, and experienced that roller coaster of just unsettled, I guess, at times. But generally, it's been a good thing for me.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And I know so much of that is how you spend your time and keep yourself occupied. What sorts of activities have you been engaging in?
Well, I can give you a typical day.
Yeah, please.
Because that seems to be, I like structure, but that part of this has freed me to not be so structured, but I get to sit at home in the mornings now and drink a cup of coffee or two. I attempt the morning crossword puzzle, and then I have kind of gone gung-ho with exercising and discovered muscles that I didn't know I had, and grunts and groans trying to get up off the floor after trying some yoga or something. So that, and then just having unstructured time has been great.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you're discovering your new muscles. What has been a grace to your mental health in the midst of all of this?
I think that there's several things. One, technology has really been helpful in that we can still connect. I can connect with my children, I can connect with friends. We can continue to bring worship because of technology, and I think for a lot of us, maybe even for a lot of the world, that has been a comfort. The other thing for mental health, I have started reading a daily devotion, and there are a couple people that I check in weekly with, and we share some of our thoughts from the week. Anything in particular that maybe struck us, and that's not something that I ever made time to do.
Yeah.
So that's been really